So in today's session, we'll see how we can do a dependency test, which is one of the most important feature from TestNG. And then we'll see the grouping concept. First, we'll see dependency methods. So what is this exactly means? So dependency methods. So let me give you some example. Let's say I have a login test. So let's say I have multiple tests in my single class. Let's say I have to open application, then I have to do login, and then I have to do search functionality. Then I have to do advanced search functionality. And after that, I should log out from application. Let's say I have these steps in my test case, and I'll create multiple test methods for each step. Let's say I have three, four, five steps are there. So I'll create five different test methods. So when you execute these test methods by default, TestNG will execute every test method, right? Suppose when you specify the test annotation for every test method, TestNG will execute all the methods by default. It will not ignore any method because we specify test annotation for every test method. So by default, TestNG will execute all the test methods. So now the problem is, for example, let's say open app is one test, login is another test. For example, let's say open app. So this particular test method is failed by some reason. Maybe the URL is not properly opening or your application is not properly working. Let us assume this open app, the test method, which is failed. So then what happens? Because TestNG will execute every test method by default, right? So even though the open app is got failed, TestNG will still try to execute next method. And then what will happen? Definitely login test will fail, right? Because if you really write your WebDriver code inside these test methods, if open app itself is got failed, definitely the login also will fail. And if the login is got failed, again, TestNG will try to execute another method and that will also will fail. And again, TestNG will try to execute another method that also should fail. And finally, TestNG will execute the logout method and that also will fail. If I look at this particular scenario, because of this open app test is got failed and rest of them will executed by the TestNG and after that they will definitely fail, right? But my requirement is suppose my open app test is or test method is got failed. I don't want to execute the rest of the methods. Why I should execute the rest of the methods? If it is got failed, definitely I will know other test method will definitely fail. And it is unnecessary effort to run those test methods, right? So, but by default, what TestNG will do, TestNG will execute every test method and definitely they will fail. But I don't want to execute them first of all. If my open app is got failed, I just want to skip login and then I will skip it to search method, advanced search and log. And all the rest of the methods, whatever methods are dependent on this particular test method, I will just skip them. Unnecessarily, I don't want to execute. It is a wasting of the time and effort. But TestNG by default execute all the test methods, but I don't want to happen that. So how we can organize these type of tests? And what is the dependency method means what? Suppose login is dependent on open app and search and advanced search is dependent on login and logout is dependent on login because once you successfully log in, then only you can do logout. And once you successfully open the application, then only you can do login. So sometimes you can find dependency methods. So here my requirement is whenever a method is got failed because of some reason, I just want to skip all dependent methods. Okay, how we can achieve it through TestNG. So we'll see that practical example. So let's go to Eclipse and create new package for today, day 44. So inside this, I'm creating a new class. I'll name it as dependency methods. And all methods should be test methods at the rate test methods. Other annotation methods are not possible. Sorry, we should not have main method. So this is simple class I created. Now I'll create few test methods. Let's say void open app, and this is test method. Also, I will give one priority equal to 1. And so then I'll create another method login, and this is also another test method and priority equal to 2. And then void search. This I will create as another test method, priority equal to 3. And then I'll create another test method, void advanced search. And this is also another test method, say priority 4. And finally, I'll create one more method, void logout from application. This is also test annotation and priority is 5. Okay. Now, if you really write your WebDriver code, right? So in open app and login. So if open app is got failed, definitely login will fail. If the login is got failed, definitely rest of them will fail. That we already know. Okay. But now I'm not writing any WebDriver code. I'm just writing a simple assertions. Okay. So intentionally, I'll make some method pass, some methods will fail. So let me just make a login as I can say assert dot assert to true off. When I say assert dot assert to true off false, then what will happen? This is a hard assertion, right? So what we have done in this assert dot assert true or false means what? I'm expecting true here, but I'm passing false. So then will it pass or fail? The test method, will it pass or fail? Definitely it will pass. It will fail. So I'll put this in this open up. And in the login, I'll say true. So that means this particular assertion will make my test method passed. Even search also, I will pass true here. And even advanced search also, I will pass true. Even a log out also, I'll pass true. So according to my assertion, except this open app, rest of all the test methods should pass because my assertion is written like this. So open app method should fail because I am passing false. Okay, now just observe the default behavior of TestNG. I am just executing this run as TestNG test. Okay, now you can just look at this. As per our expectation, 5 methods are got executed. 4 of them are passed. 1 is got failed. So this is our expectation. Okay, fine. If I go back to the result also, uh, this is console result. What happens? It is not populated. Okay, we'll see that. So 5 test methods are got executed, 4 got passed, 1 is got failed. If I look at this, let me run once again. Okay. So now if I look at this, open app is got failed and rest of all test methods are got passed. Fine. So if I look at this, as per our expectation, if you really write your WebDriver code, okay, suppose here I have written some piece of code for launching the application, and then here I have written some piece of code for login to application. So then what will happen? Open app is definitely will fail. Obviously, the login also should fail. Okay, but what TestNG is doing is even this method is got failed, the another method which is dependent, right? A login is depending on open app, but still TestNG will execute this method. After that, it will fail. Right? You can see all the test methods got passed or not. Even though the dependency method is got failed, rest of them are passed. But as of now, I have not written any WebDriver code. So by default, everything is got passed. But actually what will happen is, even though the dependency method is failed, TestNG will try to execute rest of the methods. And after execution, it will make fail. Okay. So after execution, so open app is got failed. TestNG will execute the login also, but after execution, it will fail. So definitely every method should fail. But what I'm saying is, if any dependent method is got failed, I don't want to run the rest of the test method. I just want to skip them because that will saves a lot of time. So instead of running and failing the test, before itself, I will identify whether the dependency method is passed or failed. If the dependency method is got passed, then I will go and execute this. If my dependency method is got failed, I don't want to execute this. I just want to skip the test method. So this is our requirement. So how we can make it happen? So for that, what we need to do is we need to identify the dependency methods. For example, let's say login is dependent on open app. So what is a dependent method for login is open app. So now what we have to say is we need to tell TestNG like execute this login method only if open app is got passed. Okay, and if the open app is got failed, then skip this login. So how we can do that? In the test method, test annotation, we have to pass one parameter that is depends on methods. This is a case sensitive keyword. Depends on, O is a capital letter, M is also capital letter. So depends on methods, plural, equal to, in the curly brace, we have to specify the name of the method. Let's say what is the name of the method is open app. So that you can specify in the double quotes. So now what happens is I have specified what is the dependent method of this. And the dependent method is what? Open app. So that I specified. So once you specify, then what will happen? TestNG will try to execute the open app. And if it is passed, then only the login will execute. Okay. And if the open app is got failed, then login test will not be executed. It will just skip. So that's the reason we specify this parameter. So depends on method equal to open app. So if this method is got passed, then only login will execute. If this method is got failed or skipped, then login will not be executed. It will just skip it. Okay. Now, similarly, suppose search and advanced search. Let us assume these two methods are dependent on login functionality or login test. Let us assume. So these two, search and advanced search, are depending on login. So login is a dependent method for search and advanced search. So then how we can specify that? For the search, in the test annotation, we can add this parameter. And what is the dependency method for this is login. And for advanced search also, the dependency method is what? Same login. I can say login. And what is the dependency test for logout? For that also, login is a dependency. So now we specify that. So now let us assume. Earlier, open app is got failed and rest of them are executed and also passed, right? Now observe carefully. So I'm just running the test. Okay, now you can just see the output here. Go to the console window. So 5 is got executed. All tests are executed. 1 is got failed. Let me save and execute it. Just a moment. Run as TestNG test. Okay. So now you can look at this. Open app is got failed. And because of this failure, rest of them are skipped. You can see these are skipped. Yellow color cross mark you can see. Earlier, the method is got executed and passed. So executed by TestNG. By default, every test method is got executed by TestNG. But this time, because of open app is got failed, rest of the methods are just skipped. They have not executed. Okay. Now, suppose I'll say like this. A login is depending on open app. Okay. Now I'll make open app is true. So open app will pass. So login is depending on what? Open app. Okay. Login will execute. Open app will pass and login will execute. But internally, I'll make this login failed. I'll make this login failed. Okay. Now, what about the search method? Will it execute or will it skip? Will it execute or will it skip? Search method. I'm talking about search. Okay, so open app will pass. And what about login test? Login is depending on open app. So open app is got passed. So login will execute. But after execution, we intentionally make failure. So login test will fail. And search method, advanced search method, and logout method. So these three are dependent on login. And but login is got failed. So obviously what happens? Rest of the three methods will automatically skip. So ultimately the first method will pass, login method will fail, and rest of the three methods should skip. So that is our expected. Let me run and show you. Yes. Let me run once again. Yes, now you can see open app is got passed, login is got failed, and rest of three methods are got skipped. So they have not executed because of login is got failed. So like this, we can control the dependency method. So what is an advantage of this feature? We unnecessarily no need to run every test method. If I don't specify these dependency methods, so even though the depend method is got passed or failed, in all the cases, TestNG will try to execute this method and ultimately it will fail. So unnecessarily, I don't want to execute this method. It is a wasting of time, right? If you have an n number of tests, it will be a lot of time will be wasted. So I just want to skip them. Okay. But sometimes, suppose if there are multiple dependent methods, let us say, let me take this advanced search. So if search is successful, normal search is successful, then only I can verify advanced search, right? Now advanced search is dependent on what? Search functionality. If the search is got passed, then only I will continue to execute advanced search. So let us assume I have multiple dependent methods. Let's say advanced search is depending on login and also it is dependent on search. Then how we can specify that? Very simple. Same one parameter depends on method equal to login, comma, one more parameter we need to pass, search. That also I can pass. So now I specify two dependent methods. So when I want to execute this advanced search method, these both the methods should pass. Both the methods should pass. Login should pass, search should pass. Then only the advanced search will execute and it will pass. Even one of the method among them, login or search, even one of the method is got skipped or failed. In both the cases, advanced search method will not be continued. So these number of parameters, you can specify n number of parameters. But there is only one parent dependence method keyword. But inside this curly braces, you can specify multiple method names. You can specify n number of methods. Okay, depends upon the requirement. So one method, sometimes one method you can have dependent, another method you can have dependent. Okay, now I specified advanced searches depending on login and search functionality. Now just observe, I'll make login is also passed, but the search method I will make failed. Okay, now tell me, open app, I'll make it is passed. And what about login? Login will pass or fail? It will pass. Why? Because it is depending on open app. So open app is got passed and login also will execute and internally I'm making it passed. Fine. And what about search? Search will also will execute because dependent method is got passed, but internally I'm failing it. But what about advanced search? For advanced search, login is got passed. Login is got passed. But what about search? Search is got failed. So obviously the advanced search will be skipped. Login is passed, but a search is failed, right? That's the reason advanced search will be skipped. And what about login? It will pass. So let's execute and see. So this is very, very useful feature sometimes if you want to specify the dependency method. Okay, now you can see open app is passed, login passed, search is failed. Because of search is failed, advanced search is got skipped and logout is executed and passed. So when you really write your WebDriver code, so then it will be very, very useful feature. But I have not written any WebDriver code. I just intentionally failed or passed or test methods. Normally we implement the test methods by adding validation points, right? So according to the validation points, it will decide. So this is a parameter which we have to use to specify dependency methods. This is the parameter. So here in the double quotations, we have to specify method name. And if you want to specify multiple, you can say comma, and you can say method name to like this. You can put n number of methods. And this parameter depends on method attribute is available only for test annotations. Okay. So everybody's understood about this feature. Depends on methods. How we can specify dependent methods in the test and what is an advantage of this feature. So what is the main advantage of this feature is we no need to unnecessarily execute all the methods. So before executing any test method, we can cross check the dependent method is passed or not. If it is a pass, then execute. If it is a failed, then skip it. Right? So very, very useful feature from TestNG. A small concept. Okay. So now let us move on to the next topic, which is very, very important, grouping. Given in automation frameworks everywhere, the grouping concept is very, very, very important. So now we'll see what is grouping, how we can achieve this in TestNG, how we can group our test cases, and how we can execute them as per the groups. We'll see step by step. So first of all, let us see what is a grouping concept. So normally in the real environment or real-time projects, what will happen is you will have n number of test cases. So test case in the sense, we already discussed in the TestNG how we can organize them. First, we will create package. Inside the package, there are multiple classes. And we will create XML file. In that we'll create all the tests and everything. So what is a grouping means? In the grouping, we will categorize all the test methods into different categories. Suppose, let's say I have created class 1 and I've created class 2, class 3, and so on. In every class, there are methods, test method M1, M2, M3, so on. In every test method, let's say here M4, M5, M6, and so on. In class 3, let's say M7, M8, M9, and so on. So in every class, we have a different test methods. Okay. Now, what is a grouping means? I just want to categorize those methods, not classes. I'm talking about methods, and I'm talking about especially test methods. I can group them into multiple categories. For example, most of the times we group them based on the type. Let's say sanity group, or all the regression tests, I can make them as a regression. And suppose I want to execute both sanity and regression. So then I can make one other group called, let's say, functional tests, functional group. So sanity test groups, regression test group, functional test group. Let's say sanity test group in the sense what? Whatever the basic functionality test, like login, something like that, sign up. So those type of test methods comes under sanity. So basic functionality test. So if those test methods got failed, we cannot proceed further execution. So such type of test methods, we will identify and we can group them into sanity. And regression means whatever test methods we want to execute, re-execute in every build, in every cycle of testing, whenever the developer provided build to us, we need to do some kind of regression test. Means what? The earlier test cases, whatever is got failed, after developer is fixed those defects or issues, we will again cross check whether they are working properly or not. So those type of test methods we will make part of regression. Functional means all the tests, sanity, regression, each and every test will be part of the functional. So based upon the type of test case or type of test method, we will categorize them into multiple groups. And this task should happen before starting your automation. At the time of writing your manual test cases, at the time of executing your test cases, you need to update one flag. So you will have a test cases document, right? In the same test case, you will update one flag, whether it's sanity test or regression test or functional UI test or something like this. Okay, so we need to do that work at that during the manual testing time itself. So once you write in your automation tests, then you can categorize them each and every method as a sanity or regression or functional group. This is a first task. Okay. And after specifying this particular tag for every test method, whichever tag you want, you can specify. And later on, we can specify which group of test methods I want to execute. Through XML only it is possible. Only through XML it is possible. Grouping concept is possible only through XML file. We have to run all the tests only through XML file. So in the XML file, TestNG XML file, we can specify whether you want to execute only sanity methods from all the classes, or do you want to execute only regression from all the classes, or do you want to execute all the test method from all the classes. That you can decide in XML file. That's called grouping concept. Because in every round of execution, you don't want to execute all the test methods. It's not necessary. Depends upon the requirement, depends upon the cycles of testing. You will choose a set of test cases, then you will execute them. Okay. So that is the concept of grouping. So how we can achieve this in TestNG. So we'll see practical example. Let's go to Eclipse. So for that, I'm going to create few number of classes which contain certain number of test methods. So let's create new class. And my first class name is login tests. So in this class, I will keep all the login related test methods. Login related test methods. So I'm writing something. So void login by email. Okay, this is one test method. Also, I'm giving priority equal to 1 and import this test. And here I'm not passing or failing the test method. I'm just writing the print message. So this is login by email. Similarly, I will create few more methods. So this is another test method, priority to login by email, login by Facebook, login by Facebook. This is another method. Here I'm changing the text, login by Facebook. And then I'll create another method. This is priority 3 and login by, let's say, Twitter. And this is also login by Twitter. So I have created 3 different test methods: login by email, login by Facebook, login by Twitter. All 3 belongs to one functionality. So login test, I have created 3 different test methods. Priority 1, 2, 3. So let me execute. So all 3 test methods got executed and passed. By default, all 3 are got passed. Perfect. Similarly, I will also create one more class and let's call it as a sign up test. Login test, and this is a sign up test. And let's take the finish sign up test as a finish. So inside the sign up test also, I'll create few more test methods. Let's create few more test methods here. The first method, void sign up by email, sign up by email, and this is a test annotation and priority equal to 1. Import this test annotation and simply I will write a print message. This is sign up by email. Similarly, let me write few more test methods. So this is sign up by Facebook. And this is sign up by Twitter. So in the login test, we have created all the login test methods, and sign up test, I have created all the sign up test methods. Signing up by Twitter. Okay, now this is a sign up test. All the sign up tests I've created in one test. So now I'll create one more test, one more class, and here payment test, payment tests. So in this, I will create few more test methods. So I can say void payment by or payment in rupees, payment in rupees, and this I can make test annotation and priority equal to 1, import. And inside this, I'm writing a simple print statement. I can print payment in rupees. Okay, now I can create another similar type of method. One more test method, priority 2, payment in dollars. Okay, so now I have created 3 different classes. This is our login test, and this is our sign up test, and this is our payment test. So let me execute my login test, all 3 methods. So login test is got successfully executed. All 3 methods got executed. Now let me execute this one, sign up test. So sign up test, all 3 got executed. Let me execute payment test. Individually, I'm trying to execute. So all payment tests are successfully executed. Perfectly fine. So now, what is the first step we need to do is, we need to identify what are all test methods or comes under which group. Okay, a few test methods comes under sanity, few of them are comes under regression, few of them are comes under functional. So we need to first identify them. Okay. So what I will do is I will have a small requirement here. So based on the requirement, I will categorize. Okay. So this is my requirement. Let's say in the login test, I have created 3 test methods: login by email, login by Facebook, login by Twitter. So let's consider these 3 methods comes under sanity. So I can make these 3 methods are sanity group. Login by Facebook, login by email, login by Twitter comes under purely sanity group. And after that, in the sign up method, sign up test, in the sign up test, 3 sign up test methods are there. So I'll make all 3 part of regression. So that's another requirement. So sign up by Facebook, sign up by Twitter, sign up by email, I make them as a regression. And also some of the methods will comes under both sanity and regression. For example, payment test class. In the payment test, we have created 2 test methods. And let us assume these 2 test methods comes under both sanity and regression. Both sanity and regression. And combinedly, we can give a name called functional. Okay. But why I have given a specific name, I'll show you at the time of execution. So let us assume these 2 test methods will comes under both sanity and regression. So there is a possibility, right? There are some test method which comes under both sanity and regression. The possibility is always there. So let us consider requirement like this. So first 3 methods belongs to sanity. All sign up methods belongs to regression, and payment test or belongs to both sanity as well as regression. Okay, let us see this requirement. According to this, I want to create groups. So before creating group, we need to have more clarity on this. Which one we need to put a sanity, which one is regression, which one is comes under both categories. So once you have this requirement, then we need to specify each and every method with a particular group. So how we can specify that group? So first let's go to login test. So login test, all test methods should part of the sanity group. So how we can specify that? In the test annotation itself, we have one option called groups. Okay, have one attribute called groups. In this, in the curly brace, we have to specify the name of the group. So for example, let's say I'm giving sanity. And this group name can be anything, guys. So here I'm taking just like a sanity, regression, something like this. But the group name can be anything. Like you can put A, B, C also. or you can put group number 1, 2, 3 also you can give. This name is user defined. So whichever name you want, you can give. Okay. So here I have just given some meaningful name called sanity, regression, and functional. So now in the login test, I can add groups tag. So groups equal to sanity. Same thing, I will add this login by Facebook also. And also I'd add same thing for login by Twitter also. Because all three test methods, I'll make part of the sanity group. So I have added groups. Fine. Now go to another one, sign up test. And all three sign up tests are belongs to regression. So here I will add groups equal to regression. Groups equal to regression. And same attribute I will add for rest of the test methods here and also here. So all three test methods are belongs to regression. Now payment tests are belongs to both sanity and regression, two groups. So then what I can do is go to the payment test. Now how we can specify the two groups here? I can specify like this, groups equal to, in the curly brace, first parameter is sanity, comma, second parameter is a regression. I can specify two groups like this. And even payment in dollars also, I will make both part of sanity and regression. Okay, so for now, just follow like this. Why I have given one single name to both the groups, I will tell you later. So now I have categorized according to my requirement. So all login test methods, part of sanity. Sign up test methods are part of regression. Payment test methods are part of both sanity and regression. Okay, according to my requirement, I have categorized all the test method from three different classes. Now save them. So after adding, I'm saving everything. Okay, done. So now we have to execute these three classes using XML file, because only through XML file grouping is possible. Okay, now let's create an XML file which will run all three classes. So I will create my own XML file, or you can create your own XML file if you want, or you can automatically generate XML file. So I will create my own XML file. So take right click, new file. In the package, I'm selecting here. So where you want to create this XML file, you can just create under day 44. XML file name I'm giving is grouping.xml. So grouping is the name of the XML file I'm giving. So click on finish. Now it is created an empty XML file. So whenever you create a new XML file, the first thing is we need to add first few statements. These two statements are mandatory. So I'll add them. Now we need to write our own tags. So now tell me, what's the first tag? So by this time, I hope you're familiar with the XML file, right? So what's the first tag? Suit. So suit is having name attribute. So I can give a name. I can say grouping concept, or I can say grouping suit. You can put any name and close this suit. Next, inside the suit, test tag. So that is also having some name. Okay, I can call it as a grouping test. You can give some name and closing the test tag. And inside the test tag, we have a classes tag, opening tag and closing tag. And this test should be next one, right? So this is a classes tag. Now inside the classes tag, we can specify all the classes. Now class name equal to, so which one is the first class? Login test. That is a part of day 44 package. So we have to specify the package name also, day 44 dot login test, and then close the class, right? So I can just close this class. Is it correct? Test classes. So inside the classes, we specified the class name equal to this one and closed, and classes tag is closed. In syntax, the content element type classes must match class parameter. Is it correct or not? We'll check it once again. So test contains the classes, classes contains a class name equal to this. Okay. So what is wrong in this, guys? Can you notice? So this is a suit. Suit contains a test contains a classes, classes contains a class tag. Day 44 dot, let me try to execute and see. Run as TestNG suit. Yeah, perfectly executing. So this is an Eclipse error actually. Let me close and open once again. That will resolve the problem sometimes. Let me refresh. Open the grouping.xml. Yeah. See, this is Eclipse is not refreshing it actually, but perfectly fine. All right. So let's create another class. I think another bracket we put here. Yeah, this is a problem. So let me put another line and login test. And then we have sign up test, and then we have payment test. So this is payment test. Okay, so all three we mentioned. And when I execute this XML file, it will execute all the test method from all the classes by default because we haven't specified anywhere. Execute only this particular group like that. We haven't specified anywhere. So when I execute this XML file, so by default, it will execute all the test methods. You can see from the login test, 3 methods are executed and passed. For sign up test, all 3 got executed. For payment test, 2 methods got executed. So this is the default execution. So now we want to execute specific group of test methods according to my requirement. Okay. So step 1, what we have done, we created multiple test classes. And in every test method, we specified which group it is belongs to. And once it is done, we created a new XML file. So in the new XML file, we specified all the classes. Now we need to filter it. So what type of groups of tests we have to execute that we need to filter. So how we can filter this? So to filter this, what we can do is we have to add a special tag. So along with the suit and test classes, so we need to add special groups where we have to add before starting the classes. So before starting this classes tag, earlier I told you one important thing. Someone is asked, so if you are able to create a automatically the XML file, why we need to create a manually? So this is the importance because when you create a XML file automatically, only it will generate the basic tags. But now I want to add groups, which group of test methods I want to execute from all these classes. So how, where we can specify, here we can specify. So before starting this classes tag, after completion of the test tag, here we need to add one tag called groups. Inside the groups, here is the opening tag and closing tag. Inside the groups, we have to specify one more tag called run. Again, this opening and tag, closing tag. Inside this run, we have one more tag called include. Include and name equal to, here we have to specify the group name and close this include tag. So this is a additional stuff we need to write. Okay. So inside this include name, we have to specify which group of test we want to create. So automated XML file you can edit. Okay. The basic stuff you can create automatically. Then you can add additional tags in the same XML file. That is always possible. Okay. Editing is always possible, even if you create it automatically, no problem. But when you create automatic XML file, by default, you will get the basic tags like suit, test, classes, class, these tags you will get. So additionally, you can add these groups. Okay. So now I have additionally added this particular tags, groups. Groups contains a run tag and inside the run include. And this is the most important part. So inside this include tag, we have to specify which group of test methods we have to execute from all 3 classes. So I want to execute only sanity test methods. Sanity test methods from all the classes. Now I say sanity. Just observe. I say only sanity. So whenever I say sanity here, according to our requirement, what are the sanity test methods we have in these 3 classes? How many methods will execute? You can just tell me the number. So I have created multiple 3 classes, and some of them are sanity, some of them are regression, some of them are comes under both sanity and regression, right? So in this grouping tag, I put only sanity. So when I say sanity, how many test methods will execute? From 3 classes, how many test methods will execute when I say sanity? 3 or 5? Which one is correct? 3 or 5? 5 is the correct answer. Why? Because first 3 methods are belongs to sanity. They will anyway execute. And in the class 3, these 2 methods also belongs to sanity, right? So these also belongs to sanity. So it will capture all sanity test methods. So finally, totally 5 methods will execute from all 3 classes. Let me run and show you. So run as TestNG suite. Yes. You can see total how many methods are executed. 5 is got executed. What are those 5? These ones. So all 3 login test and payment methods, 2 payment methods. So totally 5 are got executed and 5 are got passed. So we can specify grouping like this. So when I say sanity, all sanity are got executed. Suppose I say regression, only regression. Now tell me how many test methods will execute as part of regression? Again, 5, because these 3 are belongs to regression. And again, payment methods also belongs to regression, right? So totally 5 will execute. See, when I run this TestNG suite, right? So now we can see all 5 are got executed. Regression. Okay, now this is fine. So when I say sanity, all sanity methods are executing. All sanities are executing. When I say regression, all regressions are executing. Perfectly fine. Now my requirement is I want to execute only sanity, but not regression, which are not part of regression. See, I want to execute only sanity methods, which are not part of regression. Then how many methods will execute? Then let me know what are the methods will comes under that category. Only sanity, but not regression. Only these 3 methods comes under, right? But if you look at these 2, these are also part of regression. I don't want to execute them. So if you specify the sanity here, 5 methods are executing, right? What are those 5 methods? First 3 and last 2. Because last 2 also part of the sanity, so they are also executing. Now my requirement, my filter is I want to execute purely sanity methods, but they are not belongs to regression. That means I'm filtering these 2 methods because these 2 methods are belongs to sanity, but also belongs to regression. So I just don't want to consider them. I want to get only sanity, only 3 methods. Then how we can specify that? Include sanity. And the next tag we need to specify, that is exclude. Exclude name equal to regression. Exclude tag we can specify. Okay, then what happens? It will execute all sanity test methods. If suppose they are also belongs to regression, they will exclude. Okay, so this time we will execute only 3 methods which are purely belongs to sanity. Now you can see login by email, Facebook, login by Twitter. So regression is just excluded. It is just avoided. But earlier, if I don't specify this exclude, then what happens? It is captured all sanities from all the classes. And this time it is captured only sanity, but not regression. Understood everyone? So the first requirement is all sanity tests we have executed. Second requirement is all regression we have executed. Third requirement is all sanity, but not regression. We have executed by putting including and excluding. Now my requirement is all regression, but not sanity. Now tell me how we can write this. All regression, but not sanity. All regression means what? Here we have to specify, include. But not sanity means we have to exclude sanity here. So what are the tests comes under? How many comes under? Only regression, but not part of sanity. So these 3 will come into picture. And these two, even though they are belongs to regression, they will not be executed because they are also belongs to sanity that we have excluded. So these three methods will be executed. So let's go and execute. So we include regression, but exclude sanity. So now you can see these three exactly belongs to regression. Okay, perfectly fine. Now, fifth requirement. This is the most important. I want to execute the test methods which are belongs to both sanity and regression. Okay, execute all methods which are belongs to both sanity and regression. How we can achieve this? Both sanity and regression. It should only both sanity and regression means what? What does that mean? And operator I'm using. And means what? The test method should belongs to both sanity and regression. How many methods will execute? How many methods are there in this which are belongs to both sanity and regression? Only two methods: payment in rupees, payment in dollars. So these two methods are belongs to both sanity and regression. Rest of them we should avoid. Okay. Now, can you tell me how we can write this requirement? Include and exclude tag we understood. Include means it will include everything. Exclude means it will avoid. So now I want to execute methods which are belongs to both sanity and regression. Can anyone guess how we can specify? Both sanity and regression. Suppose if I just comment this exclude for now. Suppose if I write like this, I said what I'm said, the group should include both regression and sanity, right? If I write both to include groups, for example, let's say here I'm saying sanity. Will it achieve the requirement? When I say two includes, in the first include I say regression, second include I say sanity. Will it achieve our requirement? I want to execute the test method which are belongs to both regression and sanity. I say both includes regression and sanity. Just observe what will happen. It is executed all the methods, right? But we want only these two, right? Not possible. So then how we can achieve this? By writing two includes, we cannot achieve the requirement. So then how we can achieve this? So for that reason, what we need to do is we need to give a separate name for that. So whenever a method is belongs to multiple groups, for that particular category, we will give a different name. Okay. Let us call them as a functional. So functional means what? Sanity and regression. Together, we can call it as a functional. Okay. We'll give us different name. Then what we need to do is go to the test methods. So you can give this one sanity and everything, but also go to the payment test. And here I will specify functional. You can have sanity regression tag, no problem. And also additionally, I will add one more tag called functional. Okay, I'll give another tag called functional. So what is a function means? It's a combination of two groups. It is a combination of two groups. So now if I go back and grouping.xml, instead of including regression and sanity, I just put only functional. Include only functional. I remove this part. So now what happens? I've given this name to the by combining two groups, sanity and regression. So now when I execute this, it will satisfy our requirement. So when I say run as a TestNG suite, now it is executed only two test methods, which are belongs to both sanity and regression. So all methods which are belongs to both sanity regression means what? Whatever method we added sanity and regression, those methods we also added another tag called functional. So in the XML file, when you say functional, only these two test methods will be executed. So like that, we can achieve this requirement. All methods which are belongs to both sanity and regression. Both sanity and regression. Understood, everyone? So this is how we can execute group of test methods. Specific group of test methods, if you want to execute, you can configure like this. And if you do not specify these tag, groups tag, so let me comment this. So if I don't specify this group tag, okay. So this is a comment in XML file. If you want to comment any line in XML file, we need to say less than colon hyphen hyphen and ending is this one. Okay, let me just comment this. So then what will happen if I don't specify this group tag? But still all my test methods are added to the particular group, right? But still our XML file will execute all the test method from all the classes because I'm not specifying the grouping here. I'm not specifying anywhere execute this particular group of test methods. So by default, this will execute all the classes, all the categories of test methods. By default, execute everything. Only when you specify this grouping, then only it will automatically filter. So I can comment this. This is exclamatory. So when I say include functional or sanity or regression, then only it will filter. Okay, so only through the tags we can control the grouping of execution. Just by adding the tags, nothing will happen. Just by adding tags, nothing will happen. So we need to specify. And one more thing, whatever name you specified in these groups, the same name we have to refer in the XML file. Okay. So for example, in the test, you put ABC instead of sanity regression functional, you say ABC. So the same ABC names we have to refer in this grouping also. That name should exactly match. Okay. So if you want to exclude functional, you can put that also in exclude tag. No problem. Suppose I want to execute, I just want to exclude functional. Just say only exclude functional. And I don't want to execute functional. And include tag I can comment. So now tell me what are all tests will execute. I say exclude functional, and in include section I'm not specifying anything. Now tell me this, what are all will execute, what are all not execute. In include tag I'm not specified anything, whereas in exclude tag I specified only functional. In include tag I have not specified anything, but in exclude tag I say functional. Okay, let's see what will execute. I'm just running as a TestNG suite. See, except that functional two test methods, rest of them all executed by default, even though we not specified include. Okay, if we don't specify include, by default, it will execute all the test methods. But again, we put additional filter called exclude. Execute all the test methods, but excluding this functional. So that's the reason you're not able to see the functional test methods execution here. Except this functional, rest of all test methods will execute why? Because we have not specified anything in the include section. Okay, so that's how we can control the grouping concept using this include and exclude tag. Very, very important. And include and exclude tag also will be part of the run tag. And even run tag is also part of the groups tag. And this entire part should comes before starting the classes tag. Okay, so you just remember this and you'll understand. So everybody is clear how we can achieve the grouping. The first task is what? We need to identify which method is belongs to which category. That's the first groundwork we have to do. Once we have categorized, then go to each and every test and each and every test method, and then add particular group by using groups. You can add single group or you can add multiple groups. And once you added, the third step is create an XML file and specify what are all groups you want to execute. Okay, and excluding and including tag we can control. So this is a separate suite we will maintain, grouping.xml. Like that, we can create a separate source, separate XML file. And whenever you want to execute specific group of tests, we will try to execute this XML file just by changing these options. Okay, so this is all about grouping concept. So which is very, very important feature in TestNG. So we need to remember this. All right. So I'll stop today here because another topics are very huge. Data, like parallel testing, parameterization, passing parameters through XML file. So there are few more concepts are there. I will discuss them in the next class. But before that, just need to practice this and get familiar with this concept because I'll go a little bit slowly because TestNG features are very, very important. Even in the framework also, we are going to use all these concepts in one place. First, we will learn all TestNG features, bits and pieces. So once you understand all the features, so then we will integrate all these features in one place that's called framework. So all the features will integrate in framework. So then you will see exactly how we can use all these things in the framework. Okay. So I'll stop here for today's session. Just practice this dependency methods and grouping test. And let me ask you one thing. So far in that at the rate test annotation, we have seen some attributes, right? So can let me know what are the attributes so far we covered in the test annotation? So attribute instances we can consider as a parameter. So what are the things we have covered so far? How many types of attribute we can specify in the test annotation? So far, what we learned? First, we learned about priority. Yes, priority you can specify. Then what is another attribute? Next one, depends on methods. Next one, groups. Groups, right? So these are the priority, depends on method, and groups. So these are the three attributes we have learned so far in the test annotation. In the coming sessions, I will also show you some more parameters. So these are only three, not only these three parameters, we can also have some more attributes in the test annotation. Okay. And these attributes are used only with the test annotation, not for another type of annotations. Okay, remember this. And there are many more there. We will discuss them in the next sessions. All right. So I'll stop here for today's session and we'll continue in the next session.